Hello, Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 7. Okay, so for introduction, financial analysis statement is the process of analysis a company financial statement to make decision. This is used by external stakeholder to understand the organization overall health and assess financial performance and business value. So in this report, we will analyze the financial statement of two companies in two different years, 2022 and 2021. We have compared two companies in our group in the tourism industry, which is Encom Logistik Berhad and CJ Century Logistik Holding Berhad. In this regard, the logistic industry can be related to the tourism industry. On the other hand, the tourism industry has become one of the most important branches of the economy due to the increase in transportation and communication possibilities.
Encom Logistik Berhad is an investment holding company based in Malaysia on 14 April 1966. It changed its name to Tamkol Electrical Engineering Company Sdn Berhad on 14 April 1966. Tamkol Corporate Holding Berhad on 50 January 2003 was listed on the Masdar market of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad on 6 July 2004. On 23 April 2008, Tamkol disposed of its switch business in Malaysia, China, Indonesia and Australia in cash and commenced capital repayment. On 30 January 2011, Encom Logistik disposed of its investment in electrical, engineering, product trading and contracting and system integration business in Malaysia, Hong Kong and Singapore in cash. And Encom Logistik underwent further capital restructuring including capital repayment to its shareholder in 2014. CJ Century Logistik Holding Berhad is an investment holding company in Malaysia. It was founded by Chosen Rice Warehousing Co. The first office on 15 November 1930 in Yung Sung Electronic Building near Seoul. The company segment include total logistic service and turnover logistic service. In 2016, CJ Logistik strengthened as the dominant parcel delivery company in Korea.
Assalamualaikum. Today I will talk about ratio analysis and trend analysis for Encom Logistik Berhad. Firstly is liquidity ratio. As you can see on the slide, current ratio and quick ratio has been shown that from 2020 to 2021 have been decreased, but for net working capital there is been increases from 2020 to 2021. Second is activity ratio. Activity ratio for Encom Logistik Berhad in year 2020 to 2021 show that total asset turnover and account receivable turnover have shown decrease in year 2021, but for fixed asset turnover there is be increases in 2021. In average collection period, there is been increases. For example, in 2020 there is 111 days, but in 2021 it increased to 223 days. Lastly, inventory turnover from 2020 to 2021 there is be decreases data. So in that ratio, from 2020 to 2021 there is be increases, same as to debt to equity ratio. And for time interest earned ratio, it show that even it decreased from 3.0709 to 2.4547 in 2021. Lastly is profitability ratio. Profitability ratio for Encom Logistik Berhad in year 2020 to 2021 have shown that per 5 of it have been increased, but only for operating profit margin decrease in 2021, that as you can see the table on the slide.
I want to talk about ratio and trend analysis for CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad. Okay guys, as you can see here, trend analysis for liquidity ratio show the increase for all from 2020 to 2021. Activity ratio. Next, for activity ratio, show the result total asset turnover, account receivable turnover, fixed asset turnover, and inventory turnover is increased, while average collection period show decrease. For debt ratio and debt to equity show that the result is decreased for 2020 to 2021. Meanwhile, for the time is interest earn ratio show increase. As can you see that profitability show the return on equity, return on asset, operating profit margin, and net profit margin show increase. Just for gross profit margin show decrease for 2020 to 2021. I want to talk about ratio comparative analysis for CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad and Income Logistics Berhad for 2021. Okay guys, as you can see here, liquidity ratio for the first one is current ratio. Show Income Logistics Berhad is 1.4161. CJ Century Logistics is 1.4078. For quick ratio is CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad is 1.2879. For Income Logistics is 1.2879. Lastly, for net working capital, show CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad is RM87,751. Income Logistics Berhad RM6,998.
Okay, next I will talk about comparative analysis and graph. Okay, I will talk about activity ratio. Activity ratio for years 2021 for both different company, which is CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad and Income Logistics Berhad, have shown that total asset turnover, account receivable turnover, and fixed asset turnover in CJ Century Logistics Berhad is more highest number than Income Logistics Berhad, which is CJ Century have more success in 2021 than Income Logistics. In activity ratio, average collection period, Income Logistics Berhad have a highest days than CJ Century. But for inventory turnover, CJ Century have more data than Income Logistics Berhad. That is debt ratio. Okay, for comparative for both companies, CJ Century and Income Logistics, we can see that debt ratio, debt to equity ratio, and time interest earn ratio for CJ Century have been a highest data than Income Logistics, that you can see on the slide. I give you example. For example, debt to equity ratio for CJ Century 84.44%, but for Income Logistics is 78.75%. So you see that CJ Century has a highest more number than Income Logistics Berhad in debt ratio for year 2021.
For the profitability ratio, first one is return on equity show that CJ Century is 1.59% and Income is 4.65%. Next, return on asset show that CJ Century is 0.86% and 2.6% for Income Logistics Berhad. Third is gross profit margin, 14.92% for CJ Century and 22.77% for Income Logistics Berhad. Moreover, for operation profit margin, show that CJ Century is 3.13%, Income Logistics Berhad is 5.0%. Lastly, net profit margin for CJ Century is 0.8% and Income 4.56%.
Liquid asset for CJ Century Logistics in 2021 increased at 1.2879, then quick asset in 2020 at 1.1576. For Encom Logistics Berhad, quick ratio would drop from 1.4792 in 2020 to 1.2858 in 2021. CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad average collection time was 86 days and 58 days respectively. From 2020 to 2021, the company's typical collecting period will be longest. This indicated that inventory is more successful in driving sales in 2021 than it was in 2020. The debt to equity ratios for Encom Logistics Berhad has increased from 38.49% in 2020 to 4.06% in 2021. DFM is deemed to be more fully satisfying its interest commitment in 2021 than in 2020. For CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad, profitability ratio grows, demonstrating that the value in 2021 is higher than in 2019. In 2021, the Encom Logistics Berhad will have a value of 22.77% compared to 14.92% less for CJ Century Logistics Holding Berhad. Return on equity or ROE is 2.08% in 2020 and it will climb to 4.65% in 2021.
Considering the above analysis of the ratio, it is apparent to be that the company of CJ Century Logistics Holding and Encom Logistics is in a favorable financial position, and the investor will love to invest on financial area of the company. Out of the analysis, it is observed that the company is consistently maintaining the high level of margin. Moreover, operating profit margin is a profitability or performance ratio that indicates the percentage of profit generated by a company operation before tax and interest costs are deducted. Analysis on the dividend of CJ Century Holding, 1.59% is going lower than Encom Logistics, with 4.65% in 2021. The company is recommended that it should carry on the planning behind the process of extending the business by continuing the operation and maximizing the availability of different companies.